Hey there yogis, I'm Nicole. Welcome back to My Yoga Time. Thanks for joining me today. Today's class has been specifically requested and I'm excited to share with you some therapeutic exercises to release a tight Quadratus lumborum, your QL muscle. So this particular muscle attaches the bottom 12th rib down to the pelvis, and if this muscle is shortened and contracted, it can cause all sorts of postural problems such as hiking up the hip, can cause a lot of pain and discomfort, not so close to the spine, more around the outer edges there. Now we will need a couple of props for this class. Get yourself a thick towel rolled up or a blanket, or if you have a yoga bolster, you can use your yoga bolster. We're also going to use a massage ball. I'm using the Cork massage ball from the My Yoga Time cupping set, but you can use any massage ball or even a tennis ball if you don't have a massage ball. So when you're ready, we're going to use the ball straight away, and then we'll move on to some more yoga postures which have been tweaked a little so that we can target that tight QL. So when you're ready, come on down to your back. So let's bend the right leg and place the ankle on the left knee. We're going to begin with the ball underneath the right buttock. So not quite on the QL yet, more on the piriformis muscle. And just a few rolls here from side to side, or maybe forwards and backwards, whatever feels good. So it's natural to find a few tender or sensational spots. You might like to pause there for a few breaths and then continue to roll on. And let's move that ball a little higher now, coming up to the QL. So you're above the pelvis, just below your bottom rib. And again, you can roll from the spine out to the outer edges, or maybe move forwards and backwards, finding your trigger spot. If we want to get the maximum benefit from our massage balls in terms of releasing that tight fascia, it's really important that we stretch that targeted area after we roll it. So you've got a 10-minute window, which is an optimal time. So from here, keep the ball where it is on that QL. Bring your right foot down to the floor now. And what we're going to do, if the shoulders permit, just take the arms above the head. Otherwise, they can be out to the side, or if you need to, by your side. And let both knees come over to the right now, very slowly, rolling on that ball. Once those knees come down as far as they can, it doesn't matter if they don't meet the floor. Little side bend. I want you to lift up the shoulders and lean over to the left, away from the knee. Then we'll bring the body back to center, knees back to center. And again, twisting, knees over to the right, upper body over towards the left. Let's do one more. But of course, if you're enjoying this exercise and you'd like to stay longer, you can always pause the class. Benefit of practicing at home. Once you come back to center, let's remove the ball. Just take a brief moment in Shavasana and noticing any differences from the left to the right side. And then changing when you're ready. Now, of course, if you're really tight on just the one side, spend more time on that side. Otherwise, if you're both tight on both sides, then we need a little bit of balance there. So starting with the left piriformis first, ball underneath the buttock, just a few rolls there. And then when you're ready, take the ball up to the QL. So above the pelvis, below that bottom rib. And then you might choose to roll a little off to the left of the spine, all the way over to the left side waist. Find your comfortable height, your comfortable pressure. And when you're ready, lower that left foot down to the floor, arms above the head if the shoulders are happy enough there. Let's take the knees over to the left, then lift the upper body, lean over to the right. Come back to center, knees and spine to center, and then twist with your side bend. If you need to stay longer, please do. Otherwise, you can remove your massage ball and then come up to seated for me. At this point, you'll need to recruit either your towel, your blanket, or your bolster. I'm using the bolster, but if you're really, really contracted and quite tender there, you're going to prefer something a little bit lower, such as your towel or your blanket. Coming down when you're ready. Now we want the bolster right underneath those right ribs. So we've got the body in a nice gentle side bend. Make sure your head is resting on the mat comfortably. If you can't meet the mat, then you can bring over another towel or maybe a yoga block underneath the head. Now, depending on your shoulders, you might choose to keep those palms together. A little stronger if you take the left arm above the head. Once you arrive in the pose, take that time to deepen the breath. We want that deep yogi belly breath. Breathing down into the lower belly and the lower back. Option to stay here or a little deeper again if you lift your top leg and just move it back a little. You might choose to turn your head a touch to the right. Just a few more breaths. Find a little pause before you exhale. And when you're ready, let's change sides, gently pressing yourself up and turning over. So again, you might choose to stay longer on one side, depending on your body. Option to keep palms together, a little stronger if you take the right arm above the head. A moment to connect with your breath. And then feel free to take your right leg back a little, keep the knee bent. Maybe turn your head a little to the left. And let's lower that arm down. If it's overhead, gently press yourself up. So that was your last pose with the props, so we can just roll that one out of the way. And then from here on hands and knees, hands under shoulders, I want you to bring your knees together and take your feet out as wide as the mat. So we're going to move through our cat-cow stretches here with those knees together. It will feel a little awkward through the legs, but certainly a different sensation through the low back and that QL muscle. As you exhale, let's round the spine, look down. Inhale, gently moving into your back bend. Exhaling to round, pressing palms into the mat. Well done. Taking a wide-legged child's pose now, knees as wide as the mat, big toes to touch. This time we're going to, as we sink the hips back, bring your elbows in a little closer to your hips. And I want you to press your arms down into the floor and round your back. Look back towards the belly button. Then inhale, little back bend, look forward. Exhale and round. Press the forearms down into the mat, create resistance. Well done, yogis. Let's step back up into tabletop. Bring the knees in, tuck the toes under. Inhale into your back bend, and we'll exhale around the spine. Lift those hips up into your downward facing dog. You can just simply walk those hands back towards the feet, bend in the knees, and we'll roll our way up to stand. So here, yogis, let's take the feet nice and wide. And we're going to fall forward. Before you do, press the feet away from one another, just to bring a little more stability into the hips and into the lower back as you fall forward. Now we're going to take a hold of the right leg. You might be holding onto the knee, maybe the calf, maybe the ankle. It doesn't matter how high those hands are. Then either staying here, folding down towards that right leg, or if it feels okay for your body, bend your left leg, keep your right leg straight. Then come back to center. Again, explore. Maybe bend the left leg a little more, lean over to the left, keep the right leg straight. And if it feels okay for your body, you might choose just to hold there for a few breaths with the left knee bent. See if you can deepen your breath in the back side of the body, breathing into your lower back. Let's change sides. Hands can walk over to the left leg. Take a hold wherever is comfortable. Relax the body down. You can bend the knees a little if you need to, but do try to keep your left leg mostly straight. Let's bend in the right knee if that's available for you. And then back to center. So in our yoga practice, we need to bring our awareness back to the breath when we arrive in the pose. So in order to deepen our practice, we need to deepen the breath. Option to stay now with that right knee bent or return to center if you need to. And taking those few mindful breaths into your lower back, to your QL. And let's release. You can walk your hands towards your right foot. We'll step back into your downward facing dog and then lower those knees to the mat. Coming into a seated position now. Let's bring our legs into butterfly. Now we are going to be staying in a seated position for quite a few minutes. So if you're really tight through the hips, then please do sit yourself up on your yoga block or maybe your blanket or your towel. Let's have the soles of the feet together. There's no need to bring the heels too close to the groin. So taking your right hand to the right knee now, we're gently going to press the knee down, but not too strong. You don't want to cause any discomfort in the knee or the hip. And ever so slightly, try and lift the knee up a little into the hand. So you're creating a little lock, a little bandha. Your left hand is behind you. Press into the knee, lift up out of the side waist, and then just turn a little to the left. And back to center. Let's change sides. Left hand to the left knee, turning to the right, leaning over just a little, creating that resistance between hand and knee without overstraining. And back to center. Well done. Let's cross the right leg in front of the left leg now. And you're crossing at the calves. You've got the feet underneath the knees. So if you've crossed here at the ankles, take those feet a little bit wider so that they're underneath the knees. If your knees are up nice and high, then you need to elevate your hips, sit up on your towel, your block, or your blanket. So let's keep a little flexion in our feet and ever so gently try and press the feet down into the mat and move them in the opposite direction. So we're sending left foot to the right, right foot to the left. Now your left hand's going to come down to the side, more towards the knee as opposed to the hip. So wherever you can reach comfortably. If you've got really limited range of motion, you can prop up that hand with a block, or you can even bring a chair over so you don't have too far to go. So left hand to the floor, let's lift the right arm up, little cactus arm. Let's inhale, and as you exhale, leaning over to the left just a little, and then back to center. So for some, this might be enough for you. If so, continue with this motion. Otherwise, as you lean over to the left now, rotate the chest towards the floor and then lifting up that elbow. So we're staying in the side bend, we're just introducing a twist. So torso starting to face towards the knee and then lifting back up. You might start to reach that arm a little further forward if that's available for you. We don't want to overstretch. So you might choose to continue with this movement, or if you feel that you can comfortably come to stillness, maybe you can reach forward with those right fingertips and lower down to the floor, the block, or the chair. Gently send your right foot to the left, left foot to the right. And come back to center. Hands can walk to the center and returning all the way up. Well done. Let's lean back. Give those knees a quick swish and then we'll change sides. Left leg in front of the right. Feet underneath the knees. Feet are flexed. Engage. Gently send them the opposite direction. Right hand down to the floor. Cactus arm through the left. Let's lean over. Gently pulsing in and out of the pose. Either staying with that action or starting to rotate now, a little twist, turning the torso towards the right knee or towards the mat, and inhale to come up. You might choose to stay with this movement or come to stillness, reaching that left arm a little further in front. Maybe you can meet the floor, otherwise the block or the chair, allowing your back to round. Take one more breath into the lower back. And then return to center, coming all the way up. Well done, yogis. Let's recline onto our back once again. Just take a moment to notice how you're feeling. Have you created more space? We can take the arms out to the side. So moving into a gentle twist now. The choice is yours. You might choose to lift the feet up, keep the knees together. We're coming over to the right. Position those knees at about hip height. You can always use your blanket or your towel underneath the legs or even in between the thighs if those hips need support. A little stronger if you want to cross your left leg over the right leg. You get more of a sensation there into the outer hip. When you're ready, knees over to the right. And just a few deep breaths here into the lower belly, the lower back. Take that deep inhalation and then pause. Hold the breath for a moment or two before exhaling slowly. You might even like to ha out the breath. And let's change sides, bringing those knees back to center. If you had the legs crossed, changing the cross, right leg over the left. Lowering down when you're ready. Propping the body however you need to. Make yourself comfortable. And let's bring those knees back to center. Uncrossing the legs, we'll take a few moments in Shavasana, laying flat on the floor, tucking the shoulders under, allowing the body time to reset and for the positive effects of the practice to assimilate in the body. softening the forehead, the tongue and jaw. And let's bring our awareness back now, yogis. Inhaling a little deeper now. Feel free to wiggle toes and fingers. Move and stretch as those urges arise. And by all means, feel free to stay here on the mat a little longer in Shavasana if your body needs. I hope that you found relief and a release in your QL muscle. Please feel free to make any class requests in the comments below. And if you haven't done so, please do subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to support free yoga on YouTube. Thanks for practicing with me today, yogis. Have a lovely day.